Welcome back. You are watching the last part of Living with Floods, a three-part series on the level of preparedness in flood-prone areas in Kenya. Today, our cameras are trained on Gucha Migori River Basin. Remember, the Water Resources Management Authority, the lead agency in the management of water resources in the country, has identified and mapped the main flood-prone areas in the country. They include Daua in Mandera, Lower Tana River Basin covering Garissa and Tana River, Lower Sabaki in Kilifi County, Lower Lumi River Basin in Taita Taveta County, Nairobi, Thiba in Embu, Isiolo, Ewaso Narok or Rumuruti in Nyandarua and Laikipia counties, Narok Town, Pekera River Basin affecting Nakuru, Baringo and Laikipia counties, Nyando River Basin that is commonly known for flooding, Lower Sondu River Basin, Gucha Migori River Basin, Yala Basin that normally affects Siaya, Busia, Kakamega, Vihiga, Nandi and Uasin Gishu counties, Lower Nzoia affecting areas like Siaya and Budalangi, and Sabwani in western Kenya. Weather experts say, although many parts of the country are already experiencing heavy rainfall, Kenyans should brace themselves for more rains in December and January.
This word El Nino was coined by people living in Peru, actually the fishermen in Peru and Ecuador, because it's a phenomenon which is normally observed as we go towards Christmas. So for them, they thought this El Nino effect is coming because there is a baby boy who is almost being celebrated, and the baby boy they are talking of is Christ, because it used to be observed when you are going to Christmas time. So they used to talk of El Nino, where El Nino is Spanish, it means boy. El Nino boy, La Niña, the girl. So the boy they were referring to is baby Christ. And because the phenomenon was coming when we were almost going to Christmas time, those old years, around 1500, that's the time the fishermen were talking of El Nino, El Nino. So later on, when it was taken to be scientific, the same names of El Nino and La Niña, the same terms were maintained, such that up to today when you talk of El Nino, somebody understands what you are talking about. It takes only one day of heavy rainfall and then everybody forgets. You say, oh, so this was what they were talking about. You know what happened in Thika. Thika, we had skeptical people. When it rained for just one day, they started, oh, yeah, there is some money set aside for this. So can the government come to our help? We have believed the met people what they were telling us just one day.
The most memorable El Nino in Kenya is that of 1997.
2002, we had an El Nino. Most parts of the country got enhanced rainfall, but it was not as enhanced as 1997. Other years after that is 2006. 2006, most parts of the country, we had a lot of floods. But I think most people didn't notice the flooding. But there's some areas, like Northeastern, they still remember we had a lot of flooding, they lost even their animals. 2009, we remember very well, we had El Nino, but in November, the month of November, we had a bit of dry conditions. To an extent, farmers, wheat farmers in Narok, they threatened to take meteorological department to court, to sue meteorological department. But it happened, by the time they reached the court, it was already flooding in Narok. And it is said, actually one of those who are taking meteorological department to court was carried by the flood waters. It's unfortunate. But towards late November, we had a lot of rainfall. Then December, January 2009, we had a lot of rainfall. The latest was 2012, whereby most parts of the country recorded enhanced rainfall, but the level again of enhancement was not like 1997. In a nutshell, 1997 was exceptional.
The Kenya Meteorological Department falls under the Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources.
The approach of looking at preparedness for El Nino in a long-term time span is important in the sense that it becomes a daily or a usual way of life, in the sense that we then don't come to react to a situation that we anticipate that with El Nino there'll be floods, we'll need to move people to maybe higher grounds or to safe grounds. In my view, preparedness means that we invest way in advance in physical infrastructure, for example, in houses where we can move people to in the event of El Nino, in specialized hospitals where we can take care of people who are impacted negatively by El Nino, and in terms of having programs that are part of normal activities of the government, of the private sector, of the civil society, and even of households, so that when the meteorological department informs us that there will be El Nino, it is not a surprise, it is not a reaction, it is not something that we see as an emergency. It is that we are always ready because we are not in control of nature.
In flood-prone areas like the lower part of Gucha Migori River system that discharges its water into Lake Victoria, when floods hit, several people get displaced, property is destroyed, and there could be disease outbreak, among other challenges.
Serikali mikakati ambayo inafanya, huwa wanakuja kama mafuriko imefanyika, wanawaletea watu wale wameathiriwa madawa ambayo inawasaidia wale wameathiriwa na chakula, maana mafuriko ikitendeka hawa wote huwa wanakimbia, wanaacha chakula na inaenda.
We have also been able to empower the communities in terms of giving them capacity to be able to live with the floods. And one of the supports that we've given is we have trained them to through evacuation drills. They can be able to keep off from the flood whenever there is an alarm.
As a government, we already prepared. We already established a task force that is being led by the chairman of the National Disaster Operations Center, and all other relevant line ministries are on board, and we are saying that specific intervention are being taken across all the sectors. And at the county level, because national government is also represented at the county level, they also work as a team through the county disaster management committees, where they also sit together with the county government team.
However, experts say with proper mitigation, Kenyans could spend far much less on emergency spending.
Disaster management generally is a process, mainly going through 4 phases. First of all, we have mitigation, which will take more time, more resources, more energy, and more engagement. Then we have disaster preparedness. When we are now anticipating a particular disaster, we go to preparedness. When it comes, we respond to it, and when it has passed, we need to look back and build back better through what is called disaster recovery and reconstruction. If we build response and recovery capacity, we reduce losses, even if the hazard remains high.
With proper preparations too, the positive impact of El Nino and flooding could outweigh the negative effects. For example, in the Gucha Migori River Basin, that is the focus of this show, there is great potential for irrigation, with the Ministry of Water and Irrigation already putting in place the infrastructure to tap into the water of the 2 main river systems in the catchment area for irrigated agriculture. The added advantage is that dams are important facilities in controlling the speed of water and reducing the amount flowing downstream, hence helping manage floods. But all said and done, the biggest finding in our 3-part series, Living with Floods, is that the flooding that happens downstream is mainly as a result of the destruction of catchment areas.
Water Resources Management Authority is mandated to manage water resources in the country. One of the areas that we focus on is regulation, and then also the management of water resources. So flood management has been upscaled as one of the management practices within water resources. The major challenge is resources, because managing a flood requires a lot of resources, because we need to carry out some constructions like the dikes, like evacuation centers. So it's expensive affair, and so we need resources to be able to implement the various projects that are needed to manage floods.
That brings us to the end of the program. which was the last episode in a 3-part series, Living with Floods. If you've missed the series, you can find it online. A big thank you to those who have given us feedback. We welcome more feedback and ideas. Remember, this show is about you and with you.